look at it. So yeah, we're talking about the third learning outcome, which will be how to complete a research project in health and social care. So this is the last learning outcome for our Unit 5, Research in Health and Social Care. So, for tomorrow, we have this plan that we will be discussing the assignment, but I'll be going through a summary of all whatever we've talked about in these preceding days. So, our objective for today is that are involved in completing a research project. So it's data collection methods, types of data we've talked about a bit in our previous sessions. How do we analyze statistical packages that we use, grounded theory, what is validity, what is reliability, a bit about problem statements, what is a literature review, we will have a look at that. We will talk about a conceptual framework in designing your research question, your hypotheses, terms of reference, methodology, timelines, scope of work, and budget. Then we go ahead and we will talk about what types of data collection methods do we have, types of data analysis approaches, statistical packages, grounded theory, again the same. So integration of expertise, values, the best research evidence into processes for care, submissions and approvals, quality improvement, comparability, all of this will be briefly touched upon in today's session. So what is a literature review? So it is an overview, as the name says, it's literature, and it's a review of the literature regarding your topic. So you won't, it's your topic that you will have to review the literature related to your, that what has been published, what do you know already, or what the audience knows already, and what is it that you are adding in terms of your research. So there's it's just a glitch. Okay. I'll share it again. So there's no point adding to research if it's already known. So if people know already about, let's say, lung cancer is caused by cigarette smoking, you wouldn't want to do more research on it because it's not going to add anything new to it. I'm surprised there's no one today. Anyways, it's just you and me. That's okay. So a literature review is a piece of academic writing that demonstrates knowledge and understanding of the academic literature on your specific topic that you've chosen for your thesis or for your assignment at the moment. So this review will include a critical evaluation of the material that has been published already. This is why it is called a literature review rather than a literature report. So it has to be critical writing. It's not just going to be reporting whatever you're seeing. No, it is writing and reviewing and critically reviewing, critically writing. So if there's an author who's written something about a particular topic or a particular aspect in your regarding your topic, what has the other author written and why have they written something that's opposing the first author? So this is an example of critiquing. It is a process of reviewing the literature as well as a form of writing. So what is a sample data? So when we are analyzing data, sampling is a practice of analyzing a subset of all the data. So you can't analyze or you can't take the data of the entire population. So from a population, like from the population of the United Kingdom. You can't take the entire population. That's only called a census. That is done, sometimes it's done in a decade time, every year, 10 years. So that is a separate data that you take. But a sample data is a sort of data that you take from the population. You take a small subset of the data and then you analyze it to gather more information on it. This is a small video that I would like to share with you. If I pause recording. Just a minute. So what we had done so far, just giving you. So we had talked about what a literature review is. This is the first slide that we had. And it was discussed that it's just not a piece of writing. So you have to critically write whatever is available on your topic. It has to be on your topic. So sometimes you're tempted to write a lot on what your topic has, on like whatever previous research has been done, but you have to limit yourself to the word count. We'll talk a lot about this tomorrow in our assignment discussion session. I would request everyone to please attend that session because it's very, very important. We saw a little video. I'll share this later on. So it was again about literature review, and I'm actually going to talk about whatever we've seen in this. I'll actually share this screen. Share this video in the chat box. Yeah, that's done for you. Okay, so it's different from just simple writing. So when we perform a literature review, this is basically a roadmap for your literature review. So what do? You develop search terms. So there's search terms that are called Boolean operators. So Boolean operators are, they basically 2 to 3 Boolean operators. So they're mentioned as and, or, and not. So sometimes when you want to see literature on, let's say, you want to see asthma and smoking, for instance. So you would want to see articles out there on asthma. You write asthma in your search box. You'll keep a capital and. So whatever Boolean operators we have, these are called letters, different letters that we use and we operate to get our literature review done. So you would use the word and, a capital and you would want to put asthma there. So asthma and smoking. So sometimes you don't want to see something in your literature review. So you don't want to see anything apart from smoking. So let's say air pollution. You don't want to see the impact of air pollution on asthma. So you would want to use the terminology. Do I have a white board here? So if I write in the chat box, so for instance, I hope everyone can see the chat box here. So I'm writing here, let's say it's my, I'm doing it on Google Scholar or some other research platform. So I want to see asthma and smoking. So this is how it's written. So this is what I want to see, okay? Now I don't want to see the impact of air pollution on asthma. So this is what I don't want to see. So I'll put a big not here. So this is one example. I'll just search for this. I'll get all the articles that will give me asthma and smoking, but they will not give me smoking. They will not give me things related to asthma and air pollution. Now, sometimes I want to see asthma and smoking or air pollution. So this or if you see in your chat box, it will give you articles that have asthma in it and smoking. So either you will have smoking or you will have air pollution in it. Again, if I want to see another example, asthma and smoking and air pollution. Now, if any one of you could tell me the third option, number of articles, if I consider the number of articles, where will I have the most number of articles? Is it the first case, asthma and smoking, not air pollution? Is it the second option, asthma and smoking or air pollution? Is it the third option, asthma and smoking and air pollution? Anyone?
The second option.
Okay. Why did you say that? I'm not saying you said right or not. Right.
Because you can have either or, so there'll be lots of articles with one, not all of them.
Okay. Yeah. So, yeah, does it make sense? Yeah. So sometimes when you want to see asthma and smoking and air pollution, so some people can say, yeah, I would get all articles that have all the three of them. Very rightly said, Jessie. So sometimes you won't get articles that have seen asthma and smoking and air pollution. So when I type in asthma and smoking or air pollution, it gives me either articles on smoking or air pollution. So it does not limit my articles to only smoking and air pollution, as in the third case. And it does not exclude air pollution, as in the first option. So I would have either articles. Yeah. Hello. Hola, Inka. I'll just mention your name that you're here. I have to mark the attendance also. So I hope that's clear. Just a minute. Okay, that's saved your name. Okay, so so I hope that's clear. So when we do a literature review, where did it go? Yeah. So then we identify primary sources of the topic. So we have some primary sources of the literature. So you want some databases such as Google Scholar, you want PubMed. You next go for reading just the abstracts. It is time consuming, but we do not want to summarize in paragraph form important information from each of your article that you get, including your citations. Create a thematically focused table of summarized information. We'll give you all the ways of how you can do that. Prepare for the first draft by identifying an organizational approach and writing strategically. Write the first draft and edit, proof, and repeat polishing your literature review. So when you're reviewing the literature, it's a research activity in itself, and it's a contribution that you would make. So remember that literature review has a very strong very um, for a strong form about a topic. So you might have case studies, you might have studies, sectional studies, but this is the strongest because it is based on there was a slight interruption. So when we are using a literature review, it shows, so if there's a good review, it will obviously show positive and negative findings. So a literature review that is biased will be of no use. So always remember, when you have your literature review, please keep it free of bias. Cracking, I can hardly, okay, sorry. Can you hear me now? Can you hear me clear now?
Yeah, it's better now. Well,
Okay. Yeah, I've just turned it on. Yeah. So, when you're doing a literature review, please make sure to keep it bias free. So in the literature review process, what do we have? These are Silverman was an author who identified the contents of a literature review. So according to the author, they see what has been done already, or what has been known already about a topic. Let's say we know a lot about smoking and lung cancer. So that's an obsolete topic, by the way. You would not want to do a literature review on that, because that's already researched so extensively. What do you have to say critically about what is already known? So sometimes in your research, that refute to a particular aspect. So let's say that CBT is very helpful for OCD patients. It's cognitive behavioral therapy. It's a process that you have there to support patients with obsessive compulsive disorder. Now, some studies have said this, some studies have refused to this. So you would want to write critically about whatever is known as all your literature review that will tell you about it. You cannot add anything else from your side. Has anyone ever done anything exactly the same as what is proposed? Has anyone else done anything that is related? There's a new student. So, hello, Islamia. Have you joined for the first time?
line is breaking up. Good morning.
Yeah, good morning. Yeah. When you have your literature there, so there are certain aspects that you would want to focus on. So as I said, has anyone else done anything that is related to what you are doing? Where does your work fit in with what has been done before? And why is your research worth doing in the light of what already has been done? What is it new that your research is adding to this research, this topic that has already been done? So, coming to the next slide. So, it has a number of features that you would want to see in a literature review. So, the first, most important is that you have a rigorous account of what has been reviewed already. So you give critique on previous studies. So if there was a research that has been done before, but that research wasn't strong enough, you will write about that. How will you know it's not strong enough? You will go and read about that research. You'll read the research in itself. It will tell you about whatever assumptions have been made, whatever biases there are. Second, the literature review has to supersede a descriptive rerun of what has already been done. So you're not going to write again about what has been written already. You're going to write, but it's critical writing. Okay, so you're identifying gaps in whatever there is in the literature already. The third feature is that if you're doing a literature review throughout the research project, it's not a conventional understanding. It's not just a simple study. So a review remains as an ongoing project, and it requires refinement and modifications as the study progresses. So you might find another study that has some similar findings to yours. You would want to add that, and you would want to exclude some previous study that you added because it's not very closely related to your study. So it's an ongoing process. And sometimes, for instance, if you want to add studies that have been done in the previous 5 years, some study pops up and it's just been published now. So you would want to add that as well because that's recent knowledge. So sometimes you would want to do that also. Then create a sample of data from the findings. So data sampling, as I said already, you're not going to take the whole population. So there's a whole population of, let's say, Manchester. Now you want to use a sample based on that population. So why do you want to use a sample and not the entire population? Anyone out there? Do you have an answer for this? Why would you want to use a sample regarding their nutritional intake, let's say?
Because it would take too long to do the whole population.
Yes, very good. Anyone else? Yeah, so we don't have enough funding. So by funds, what do we mean? We mean we don't have enough, like whatever we have, it's going to be limited. Whether we have people working in our study, whether we have money, whether we have time, these are all resources. So we don't have enough resources, we would say. So resources obviously come with funding. So when there's less funding available, there's less resources. And vice versa. So you would want to go for a data sample instead of the entire population. As I said earlier, you would want to have enough people in your population so that you can have a good sample that is representative. So you're saying that you've not taken, though you've not taken the entire population of Manchester, but the people that you have taken are representative of the people of Manchester. Let's say you want to work on childhood nutritional status. Now in children, you're going to take children from Manchester, okay? If you take people who are 14 years old, you take someone who's let's say 24 5 years old. You're not considering that person as a child. So that person is not a part of your sample. Okay, so sometimes you want to use, but here we're not calculating, it's just an indication that what I'm trying to say is that sometimes errors and you would want to have a small sample that you can deal with properly. So then there are certain types of data collections, some data sampling methods required from you at the moment. So there's certain types of sampling methods. So there's one called probability sampling, and there's another one called non-probability sampling. So probability is obviously random, where anyone could have the probability of being a part of your sample. So you have simple random sampling, you have stratified sampling, cluster sampling, multi-stage sampling, and systematic sampling. We're not going to go into details. These are just types of sampling. So, as I said, we'll miss this out. This is not very important. Then, okay, so what sampling you will do most probably in your research would be non-probability sampling, where you're taking interviews from people. Now, I'll talk a bit about what non-probability sampling is. So, it's an approach in which the data sample is determined and extracted based on judgment of the analyst. So sometimes you don't want to sample a lot of people. So when you have probability sampling, you're going to go house to house and take a sample from people. That's called a random sample. Or sometimes you would say that every alternate house would be considered for the sample. That is a probability sampling. So anyone has a chance of getting into that sample. What is non-probability is that you're going and into the field and you're sampling based on your convenience. So let's say, Jesse, you're sampling school children. So you want to take children of year 1 and year 2. Now, if you do like, let's say you want a probability sampling, you'll have, so you will have names of all the students and you randomly take out 5 names from them and you will randomly select them. So that is a probability sampling. But convenience sampling is that the data is collected from an easily accessible and available group. So they're all students there available. Whoever's free, you take the sample. The sampling is that every subject meets the criteria. So you're taking a sample from all the students consecutively. So first student, second student, third student, as they appear in the attendance. Purposive sampling is also called judgmental sampling, where you select a data to sample based on a predefined criteria. Just as I said, that you want children who are studying from a particular school, that's a purpose that's called purposive sampling. Is another form of non-probability sampling, where you're taking subgroups. So let's say I want 30% girls and 40% boys in my sample for whatever reason. So that's called a quota sampling. I hope that's clear. Yeah. So next is data analysis. So we have several ways of analyzing our data. There are certain qualitative methods and certain quantitative methods. Why is data analysis important? So yeah, with advanced technologies, you have advanced methods of data analysis. So these reduce your costs and they can give you improvements in your judgment. They can give you, they can help you understand trends. So they are a very good way to reduce costs, and you can have different opportunities. You can look at different trends and patterns in your data and plan strategies accordingly. So sometimes you want to target customers better. So customers, they're very crucial. Can everyone mute themselves, please? Thank you. So whenever you're joining, please make sure you are muted. So I just have to mention your attendance. Okay. So yeah. So sometimes research tells you different aspects that you've not looked at, and that's through data analysis. That's properly analyzing your data. That tells you about new trends and what's going to work and what's not going to work. So the analysis process identifies the data. That's the first thing that you have in place. You collect the data, whatever you need, okay? So that this is through surveys, you have interviews, you have questionnaires, you have focus groups. Then you clean the data that you have, you clean it. You make it ready for analysis. So not all data will be ready for analysis.
Reduce the volume.
Excuse me, can everyone mute themselves, please? Yeah, I've had to forcefully mute people. Okay, so next is cleaning your data. Then you analyze. You have different methods of analysis. You have different software for analysis. And then you interpret. At the end, you interpret your research findings. This is a whole cycle and it goes on. Then you present your findings. So you present your findings in the form of different ways. The bar charts that show you different findings of your research. Then you have a circle and you have different portions of that circle. It must add to 100%. All of them, when you add them, they should be exactly 100%. There are other forms of presentation also, such as line charts and scatter plots, but they're a bit more advanced. Then you have qualitative data. It takes quotations from interviews or field diaries. So when you want to write exactly what people have said, you would want to use qualitative data. So when you want to draw on conclusions from your results, you would not just use raw data. You're obviously going to clean the data and then give what findings you have. Then you represent your data. So that's in the form of conclusions that we require from you. Obviously, we've asked you for giving conclusions at the end. You could present your data as a PowerPoint presentation or give it in a Word document as a report. It depends upon you. So whatever you conclude, it must be aligned with your aims and objectives of your research. So sometimes you would want to see what is reliability and validity. So these are two terminologies that are used in research. So reliability is about the consistency. How consistent is a measure? So if I'm doing a research and there's someone else who goes ahead and does the same research, are they going to get the same findings? Exactly the same research if it's done by another researcher. So that is reliability. Or if I have a weighing scale, let's say I have a weighing machine. Is it reliable enough that it will consistently measure everyone? And is it valid? So does it give accurate measurements, or does it give accurate measurement for some people and doesn't for the others? It's important to consider reliability and validity. So a valid thing, a valid measure, a valid scale is very important. So obviously they're used in research very extensively. If your research is not valid or your research is not reliable, it's not of use. So your questionnaire should be reliable and your questionnaire should be valid when you're collecting your data, especially when it comes to quantitative data. So reliability refers to how consistently a method measures something. If you get the same result, it can be consistently achieved by using the same methods under the same conditions, the measurement is considered reliable. So sometimes you measure temperature of a liquid sample several times under ideal conditions. The thermometer displays the same temperature every time, so the results are considered as reliable. A doctor uses a patient with long-term medical conditions. For instance, it's diabetes or it's a lung cancer. Several different doctors use the same questionnaire with the same patient but have different diagnoses. This has low reliability. So this questionnaire will not be used. Even if you love the questionnaire, it's not going to be used. It's not going to work there. So what is validity? It refers to how accurately a method measures what it is intended to measure. Again, as I said, high reliability is an indicator that the measurement is valid. So sometimes your thermometer shows different temperatures each time. It's not valid then. If a symptom questionnaire results in a reliable diagnosis when answered at different times, and with different doctors, this indicates that it has high validity as a measurement of the condition. So sometimes you want, I'll not go through this. This is a bit more. So when you want to do your literature review, you have certain things to consider within your literature review. So considering the concepts of validity and reliability from these slides, you would want to ask a question that what have other researchers done to devise and improve methods that are reliable and valid? Okay. So sometimes in your methodology, you would want to consider how did you, this question that how did you plan your research to ensure this would include sample set and size, sample preparation, external conditions, and measuring techniques. In your methods, what did you use? What sample size did you consider? Did you just consider a random sample size that, okay, I'll just take 10 people, that's it? Did you have a method of calculated on your own? Did you have a questionnaire that was valid enough to take that research, to conduct that research on those people? And then your results. So if you calculate reliability and validity, state these values alongside your main results. Obviously, this is beyond the scope of this research, but you would want to consider consider it next when you do your next research. Discussion, it's the moment to talk about, did you do your research or did you do your literature review? Was it done valid and reliable? Were your whatever findings you had in your discussion, were they consistent and did they reflect true values? If not, why? And then in your conclusion, if reliability and validity was a big problem for your findings, it might be helpful to mention this here. So in your conclusions, you would want to mention if you, for instance, you used a questionnaire in your study and that questionnaire was not very robust, you would want to mention it here before your before there's an objection on that question. There's an article on Moodle that you would want to read about. It's why do a literature review in health and social care. Please do read this article on your Moodle page. It will give you an understanding of why to do research and how to do a literature review. These are some of, these are, okay. Yeah, it just opened up the page that I was showing you. Just a minute. So is that clear now, the session today? I know there are a few more topics that we have discussed today that we had not discussed earlier. And this is just to make sure that you, you know about what I'm talking. Tomorrow's session is very important. It's basically talking about what literature review, how would you do it, and what are the steps of the literature review. So I'll just unmute all of you. Just a minute.
Thank you.
Yeah, Jessie, is that okay?
Yeah, it's all okay.
Okay, that's great. I will highly appreciate your attendance tomorrow. So if all of you could be there, please, it would be great. Yeah, any questions, anyone?
No questions for me. Thank you very much.
That's okay. Just seeing if I've mentioned everyone in the attendance. So there's Doris, there's Olainka, there's, okay, Islamiyat was not mentioned. That is good. Okay, thank you everyone for your time. I shall see you tomorrow, definitely. We will go through whatever we've covered so far. And we will also go for the entire, we'll actually do it together. So please come ready with your research topic and come ready with whatever you have, your plan is for your research, and with a justification of why do you want to do that research. So tomorrow is all. I probably will take more time tomorrow just to complete the session on your assignment discussion. Okay, so it might go beyond an hour. Is that okay?